morning, good afternoon, good evening. Chris and Tammy here coming to you live from Toronto, Canada. It is beautiful and sunny today. We still have what we call the Indian summer, so we're excited about that. This morning, folks, we want to really focus on training that we've done, I don't know, maybe about a year ago, in reference to building around your story. Your story matters, your voice. You have no idea the impact that you could have on someone else. And it's also a way for you to connect with your audience. Just sending a link, it's okay. But to make a connection, it's what will drive the interests, that will drive the business. People do business with you because they like you, know you, trust you. And that's why your story is so important. That's why network marketers are the reason why network marketing company can last for forever. Because the leadership that is within creates that level of education, mentoring. I could go on and on and on here. And
commitment, yeah.
Exactly. And the point here is your story is the foundation to everything. So it's very important that you maybe come back and revisit this call, this training, this recording after the fact, because while we're sharing, you're probably taking notes. Maybe you're distracted with what's going on around you. And then you're listening to this again and says, oh, you know what? I didn't pick up on that. And this is how learning really works. Now, Tammy, just before we begin, I again love to acknowledge everybody here. Robert, thank you for being here. Great to see you. We have here Celine Ebb from Ghana. Great to see you. Bruce from Yulee, Florida. MC from Texas. I don't know what it is. Everybody, I had a memory fart. Sorry about that. Bakshi, great to see you here from Bangladesh. We have Mary Paul from sunny Ottawa. We have Enyonam from Accra, Ghana. Let's see. We have Esther. Great to see you, Esther, from Accra. We have Urban Sober from Sweden. Great to see you here. Let's see. We have Abdu. Great to see you here. I think it's from Accra, Ghana. We have Obasima, also from Ghana. Let's see here. We have Michelle. We have Jacob. Jacob is from Bandu 10 Bono region of Ghana. Cool. We haven't been there, actually. Let's see here. We have Laddie. Great to see you here. And let's see who else. We have Danielle from Florida, Lena from Ghana, and Michael. Great to see you here. So, Tammy, I just want to make a quick announcement on what's coming, but is there anything you want to share as we begin?
We'll make the announcement and then we'll start with the training. But I just wanted to welcome everybody.
Sure. Just a few things, folks. The cash contest, for those of you that may not be aware, is still taking place. We have 10 more days. So Joel extended it all the way to the end of September, which is awesome. And remember, over and above the cash contest, which is awesome, and congratulations. Let's see who's on the top right now. We have Joshua, Jay, and I'm so proud of you with number 3. You're playing with the big boys. This is awesome. We have David, you're even ahead of David. Well done. We have Louise, we have Dr. Dorothy, we have Rita, we have Margaret, we have Celestine, and we have our Dorka. Great to see you here. Now, the point that I want to bring out here, folks, is that if you sign up 5 yearly members, okay, you have the option. Well, not the option. You will basically being given a branded website, which is absolutely awesome. I think on Friday I made a mistake. I say 90 people. I apologize for that. I think what we had, Timmy, is like 30 something.
Yeah, 30, I believe, that are going to have branded websites. I can't wait to see them all. I'm excited.
Yeah, 30. Oh, yeah, that'll be so awesome. Again, this is going to be adding on, and this is the reason why we're doing this training today on building your voice and your story. It's because the tools are going to be introduced with GotBackup are going to be in line with this training, and we want to give you the recipe. So this is very important. Take advantage of that. The other thing, too, is we have this event which is taking place on the 27th. You don't want to miss that. That's really, really important because there's going to be an increase in commission because there's going to be some added things that are going to be added on. And I know that GotBackup is adding a few more areas that you can actually earn, which is really, really, really cool. I think you guys are going to love this. Make sure that you hit the notification. You can see mine here. It says on. See, this is on right here. And also, I recommend to go and click the like button as you did. As you can see, I already did that. It just increases the algorithm of YouTube to have more people watching it. People will tend to, YouTube tends to show more of a video that people do appreciate. And the same token, folks, if you like what Tammy and I are doing here this morning, smash the like button. It just, again, it just adds to the algorithm to show more to show the video to more people so they can learn how to build their stories. Back to you, Tammy.
Yeah, so we're just going to jump right into the training. I love this part of the training because we're in a people business and it's all about connection. And, one thing about the pandemic, it kind of put everybody behind a screen, which you don't get that belly to belly connection when you're really connecting with somebody unless you're hopping on a Zoom, which we'll do, especially when we're talking to people who are not in the same area or the same country. It's great to see people. It's good because you get to read their body language, and even hearing somebody's voice over a text, it's much more impactful than doing a text or an email. Emails are effective when you're consistent, but when you add a video to that email and a story to that email, you'll get a whole lot more clicks. So we really want to focus on everybody mastering their stories. And what we're going to focus today on is how to craft it. How do I put this all together? And you know what the best part is? Today we got ChatGPT, so you can jot a bunch of stuff, and there is an assignment at the end for all of you to put together your stories and practice and practice and practice and get in front of a camera. Even if you're not comfortable, set up your stand, set your phone there and do it 10 times. I'm telling you, you're going to get 1 out of 10 that's really, really good. And that's how you master your story, right? Is to put the whole framework together and take time to put this together, because then it becomes very natural for you. And, we always say, in our profession, I think in any profession in sales, facts are going to tell people about what the service is about or what a product is about, whatever. But the story, your story, is going to open people's mind to have more of a relativity. And when people connect, that's when they make decisions. So if sometimes you're not getting the results that you're looking for, pay attention to this. We can all improve constantly on our storytelling, even telling somebody else's story. I've told other people's stories and referenced other people that are doing very, very well. And what's even better is if you can get them hop on a Zoom with you, especially like within your teams, knowing each other's stories, you could really leverage from each other. So we're really excited about today's session. So let's get started, Chris.
Yeah, and I was reading Danielle's comment here, and Danielle, I really appreciate that because you're absolutely correct. I have done that myself, as a matter of fact. In fact, there was a time where, and Tammy and I were just telling ourselves, we need to start doing more lives and more videos. And we used to go, usually when we're in Daytona Beach, many of you may know or may be aware of, we have a place in Daytona Beach, Florida, and we go there 5 months out of the year. And we just don't do winters anymore, at least trying to minimize. So we go where the sun is and trying to stay there. But my point here is that every time we walk on the beach, we used to, kind of, and I think, Tammy, we should really start doing that again.
Consistency. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And we used to share. Yeah. You live in shares and everything. And the fact is in fact, this is where I've learned a lot on how to improve on myself. And this is a really, really good recommendation. Highly, highly recommend that. Great feedback here. But the fact here, folks, is, and Tammy touched on that, is facts tells. When we present the opportunity of GotBackup, there is a mixture of stories and a mixture of facts. Now, the facts are, for example, what's how many people are into the cloud storage, and what are the numbers, what are the income in 2022 compared to 2030. And these are facts, these are things that will get people, oh, okay, that's interesting. But it's not what's going to get them to connect with you. What's going to connect with you is, for example, there's a friend of ours that went to Greece, for example, and they didn't see really the value of GotBackup until their trip, when they realized that every single pictures and every single files that they took from their phone, from their computer, was on the cloud. And they were in Greece, and their phone ended up being a gateway to all that information. And everything was at basically at their fingertips, where they can see and access documents that they needed in real time just by accessing it from the cloud. That's a story that people could relate to. Oh my God, this is cool. Right. Another case was, for example, we were helping some friends where they haven't installed the software on their computer yet, and they were debating, should we really continue to use GotBackup? Is that something that's really useful to us? And then we started showing the application and realizing that you can back up all your computers on the cloud. And the question was, well, can I actually get these files from this computer into one of the computers that's sitting on the cloud back into my local computer here on this one that I'm using in my, let's say, my cottage? Yes, you can, because you can access those files from the cloud. So automatically, oh wow, that just that alone has enormous value for me. You see what I'm saying, folks? These are the stories that will get people to connect, to see the value. And that's what we're telling you. Facts tell, story sells. And what we want to talk about here today is building your story around your facts, your daily situation that others can relate to. Anything else you want to add to this, Temi, as I change slide?
No, it was interesting that you're sharing that, because when we did that session with this gentleman, and the light bulb went on. Part of it is the fact that Chris and I showed up to support him. So that's all part of it as well, right? It's not just about, sharing the facts with people. It's the fact that we took the time, and we didn't have to sell ourselves to them at all, because they were already very grateful that we sponsored him, that we were always there for him. For him, you got to listen to people, because for him, the most important thing is, it wasn't the concern that he didn't have support. The concern was whether the service is really the value that he would want to continue for another year. And then when we dug into it with him, and really he got him to understand what he had in his hands, it was huge. The light bulb went on. He said, just that feature alone is worth it. So he sold himself on why this is so valuable. Now for him to go out and tell people, it's going to be a lot easier, right? Because now he's got this story just by spending some time with him on a Zoom session. So we're kind of going into this more in human connection of we've been experiencing, and connecting with people who are already in, or people who are not in yet.
Absolutely. And Flora, really appreciate. And folks, you know what is really awesome in real time here, because some of you have stories. Why don't you, from time to time, if you see an opportunity, as we are presenting here today, put your story into the comment and share it for the world to see. Mm-hmm. Because folks, it's not just the people that are here that are going to see this. It's the hundreds, even thousands of others over time that are going to come and see this training, that are going to see examples. They say, oh, that happened to me too. And that can contribute to building their story. So feel free to add your story moment with GotBackup right here in the comment. It'll be absolutely awesome. So you see, a leader is a storyteller, and you will find that what defines a leader often is someone that can actually move someone else or move others with their story, with whatever approach that they may have. But this is what leaders do. They're storytellers. Now, one thing here, folks, that I do want also, for me, integrity is everything. It's important that if you share a story, let's make sure that it is real. We hear a lot of these TikTokers and sometimes very high profile, and stories are not even real in reference to a disease or thing. I mean, obviously, I'm kind of out of context because we're dealing with digital services. But my point here is just make sure that whatever you share, it's authentic to you. There's always a way for you to share it in a way that could be compelling to others. But again, want to point out that leaders are storytellers. If not just their story, but they're great in telling other people's stories. That's, again, a definition of a great leader.
Yeah, so our whole focus is the why, right? It's to discover the GotBackup difference. What is your purpose in being part of the GotBackup community project? Why the service is so impactful for you, and why the opportunity. Guys, don't be afraid of talking about money. So many people are afraid to talk about the financial opportunity. They're afraid to talk about network marketing. Be proud of this profession, because this profession has freed so many people around the world. This profession. Chris and I are passionate about our profession. We know lots of people that never joined network marketing. They had, whatever feelings that they had around the profession, or maybe had a bad experience and never dug into why they were having a bad experience, and they just shut down. Where this industry, if you put efforts, if you develop yourself, if you improve on your skills, this is a skill that we're going to be working on today. The storytelling. When you grow personally, guess what? All those people around you that didn't come in, they're going to see such a huge difference in you. And do it for yourself. Don't do it in spite, because other people aren't doing it. Do it for yourself and make an impact. Just go out and keep connecting with people. Keep telling your stories, because you never know whether those people are going to come back and find out, what are you up to now? You never know what's going to happen in the future. So just work on this constantly. The more you do it, the more confident you get in telling your story, the more confident you get in easily connecting with people. Chris and I can easily connect with anybody and talk about GotBackup. Why? Because we've been doing it. We've been practicing and practicing and practicing. And the more you practice, the better you get in anything.
Something that can also help you guys. I know here, Michael, you're asking for an example of a story uploading. At the end of the day, Michael, someone else's story is not going to impact you. You have to dig into your own kind of own soul, your own environment, and dig a story out of that. Think of the use of Gmail and what you use it for, and having the fact that you can transfer all of these files on the cloud. What does that does to you? Think of the examples and then build a story around that. And I know there's some comments here. I think it was from Danielle, and I think Dr. K, we also do mention not only you have access to a cloud storage, but talking about the opportunity. So here's the thing, folks. GotBackup came into our lives, Tammy and I, at a time where we were borderline desperate, in desperation. Mm-hmm. Because there's been some changes in the revenues that we were earning that were suddenly completely halted, like just overnight.
And Joel had no idea when he contacted
exactly us. But it all came together. But the point is, we focus on GotBackup. Now, Tammy and I, when we focus, mm-hmm. and we started reaching out to everybody we knew in reference to the possibilities of taking advantage of a cloud storage. And we got a lot of people excited. And around that was the beginning of GotBackup. And then we started creating a wonderful stream of income with GotBackup. And folks, so many people are saying, well, I wish I could do that. Well, you can. It's all in the mindset and the way you perceive it. Tammy and I have been making money from network marketing for a long time. So our level of belief is quite high in this industry. And because of that, for us, it's not Is it going to happen? When is it going to happen? And that when will be depending on how much intensity we're going to put into sharing this information with others. We don't sit behind our computers with emails and wait for people to respond. We went to people, we reached out to them, we invited them to look at what we had to offer, and of course then we used the funnels for them to see the links. And some people signed up, like when I woke up in the morning. This is how it all started, but it's not always going to be that way. But the fact here, folks, is you can build a story around the opportunity. It's kind of the reason I kind of a little got sidetracked about, but the reason is the opportunity is also a great way to build a story. Maybe you can't pay your mortgage with the income of GotBackup, but you can certainly have your service paid for. And then adding on the value of the service that we used, the example we used earlier, I'm getting my service for free, a matter of speaking, because I get commission that oversees the cost of it. As you understand, $100 a year, it's really nickel and dimes. But for some, it may not be nickel and dimes at the moment because the timing is not right. But the fact here is you could build a story around that. And this is what's important. In a financial opportunity, and that's why we talk about the prosperity, it's a big deal because GotBackup is in a blue ocean. Mm-hmm. And the fact here is, you understand the meaning with blue ocean. Red ocean is everybody's in it. Everybody is chasing for the business. Everybody's doing it. But a blue ocean is, again, there's nobody there. You're all alone. It's an opportunity for you to kind of monopolize, right, the possibilities that are around this. So this is what we're saying here is the opportunity has mega value. For Tammy and I, it has saved us. And now it has grown and grown and grown, and other things have been, kind of adding on to what we're doing. But my point here, folks, is we've used that story also as we begin and still do today. So build your story around your situation and just work around your scenario and don't ask for someone else to, can you give me an example? Of course, an example could be a base foundation, but at the end of the day, you need to build your own story. Because if it's not your story, there's no emotional connection. And if there's no emotional connection, then most likely when you tell someone else, that someone else is not going to feel the connection. They're not going to feel you because it's not real to you, right? So that's why that story has to come from you. Anything else you want to add to that?
No, it's perfect, Chris, which is kind of leading into the next slide is the format on how to create your story. And, Chris shared where we were before Joel contacted us and told us about the GotBackup project. Joel had no idea. He was actually telling us that he was nervous to contact us because he's known what we've done in the industry and he wasn't sure whether we'd be open, but he had the courage to contact us, which was massive. Because he realized after the conversation where we were at and partnering with him what he could provide, and it just connected, right? We just totally connected. So what do? We joined. So you can see the process of whatever Chris just shared with you was really our story getting started. Now we're flourishing. Right? Because we put efforts into it. We contacted amazing people who saw the vision because we shared the vision with the people that we were connecting with. And so that's the framework, you guys. So you got to create that. You got to take the time to do this. And we're kind of going to lay it out for you. And I recommend after this session, if you can, or maybe take a time in the evening or early morning when you're more alert and focus. I'm a morning person. For me, my brain opens up. I'm sharp in the morning. In the evening, I'm not as sharp. You know your schedule. You know what you can do. So you want to spend the time writing down some key points on before you got started with GotBackup. What was the pivot point? What was that deciding factor for you? And then now, what's going on for you? Now, if you guys haven't really put any efforts into it yet, start your story. It's important, okay? And just, build on that belief to be able to share your story. And as your story evolves, which our story has evolved a lot because we've been with GotBackup for 2 years and 4 months, our story is constantly evolving, right? So you got to start somewhere. So that's your framework.
So
And
the fact here, folks, is 2.5 minutes. It's again, we're sharing this to give you a guidelines because you don't have 12 minutes or half an hour to talk about a book story, right? Often you meet someone at a grocery store, you meet someone in the elevator, you meet someone as you're walking outside, and and you're kind of in the midst of the conversation. There might be an opportunity for you to fit in your story as to what happened before and the pivot. What's the situation that got things different that will pique the interest that maybe someone else may want to have that too, and how things are now. And that's basically the framework. And read some of the comments that are posted from members like Dr. K-Away here. By the way, Dr. K-Away, they're starting a meeting, a hotel meeting in Accra, Ghana. Which congratulations for doing this, guys. This is absolutely awesome. I recommend that if you're in a city where you have an opportunity to have people coming to you once a week, I'm telling you, folks, this is going to drive major momentum. People are missing this body kind of connection. So just keep that in mind. So just a little side message here that I wanted to share is that, again, we don't do the hotel meetings because the prices of hotels are ridiculous, but in some cases there might be opportunity for you to do just that.
yeah,
But
and if you are in Accra, Ghana, yeah, you definitely want to be attending them. The Mensvik Hotel, I love this hotel. We've had so many great memories for many years going to that hotel. And so for those of you who are on this session, not aware of it, yeah, you definitely want to connect with the leadership that are doing these meetings and make sure that you attend and make sure you invite people, even if you're not living in Ghana or Africa and you have connections in Accra. You can definitely invite people to these presentations. And it's going to
back to the point here, Tammy, the storytelling. So let's keep going into, okay, how do we build a story? So now we're in the first segment, which is your pain. Now, we're just giving you some pointers here, folks. By a long shot, what we're saying here does not have to have anything to do with your story. We're just giving you something so we can share something. The fact is, what's the cost? Define the relation between the costs and situations, right? A lot of people have a pain in the sense that they just spent a lot of money on this device, and here they are now that they want to have an ankle biting fees of X amount of dollars for extra 2 terabytes on iCloud or Google Drive, whatever. They're all within the similar price range, and a lot of people are annoyed by that. And one thing that you can say here is, we have a company actually, and you can keep that to a little later, where when it comes to the income aspect, that can cover the cost. But the fact is, our cost is so low for so much, right? And again, what you purchase, you get, again, it doesn't have to be that at all. It's just an example, right? $9.97 for 6 terabytes. It's $20 yearly for me to be able to have an income stream to actually pay for my service. But it can go a lot further than that. Number 3 is, what did you get back? Describe the restoration, their new reality. I mentioned about some friends of ours that went to Greece and realizing that everything that they have into their cloud based on what's in their computer, their phones and whatever, was all accessible from their cell phone. Again, that's something that many can relate. Others may say, I have a computer at home in the city. I have another computer in my my campground. I know words are not coming to me. A different place, and where there's a different computer, and I left my files in my computer at home in the city. I'll need it here, but now you can. So these are all things that you can add to the product story. And again, you want to keep it to 2.5 minutes, right? Anything else, Tammy?
Yeah, I mean, we've been at the airport where they asked for specific documents, and we were able just to go on our phone and show them the documents. So Yeah. There's so much value, you guys, with this. That's why we're so passionate about it, and we can easily connect with people and tell stories like this because we experience these stories. So yeah, it's about building that belief around what you have in your hands and use the service. Oh my gosh, so many people don't use the service and they have no idea what they have in their hands. You got to use the service to understand how much value this has. So here you've got the word pictures. That's got to be the biggest thing, is to be able to share a picture in somebody's mind of what's going on in the process of your story. That's how they relate, right? To share that, the pain points before. How many times have any of you, if any of you have lost data over the years, if any of you have lost data and it affected you emotionally, put a 1 in the chat.
And
I'm
while you're
sure.
doing this, do you remember when Joel started his presentations and his story,
Mhm.
where he talked about how, and you could tell he was emotionally compromised by it, right? By telling the story. Even it happened decades ago, where he lost literally decades of pictures of his kids because of a laptop that was stolen with an external drive. And instead of having, and basically that was the initiate story of why GotBackup exists, where he has a server, but himself was not even using that. He was basically using an external drive that he carried with him, thinking that that was safe. But he lost all of those. Again, that captured a lot of people's attention. You see, that's a prime example of what it has cost you, the pain before. And now we're dealing with the product, but of course, we're going to get into the financial examples a little later. Back to you, Tammy.
Yeah, so it's all about creating those word pictures. Screenshot this slide, you guys. It's going to help you work on your story. Okay, so number 1 is before, the pain that you felt when when you lost your data pictures. I talked to a friend who lost her wedding pictures. She has no access to her wedding pictures anymore. That, for me, it's such a big thing. I get emotional just thinking about it. It's the most special day, and well, one of the most special days in your life, and you want to share that with your grandkids and your great grandkids in the future, and you don't have it anymore, and you're counting on other people that might have taken some sideline pictures of different things, right? So that's an emotion. So the pain before, what it cost you, right? So loss of all those memories, having to chase other people to find out if they have any pictures of your wedding. I'm just making that an example. People are sick and tired of money going out the window, always having to pay more and pay more and pay more. That's frustrating, right? That emotion is frustrating. People can relate. They're tired of paying too much for many things. And GotBackup has so much value. It's unbelievable. And the challenges that it can cause in relationships, right? When something like that happens. So then you want to start talking about the pivot. Okay, so the pivot is no more worries because everything's backed up. If something ever happens, Chris and I are not worried. Last December, and I know recently it happened to Chris, but last December, I went to my external drive and there was nothing. It was like, oh my God, Chris. And so I called him over and he's like, nothing
It
I
is
can
what
do.
it is.
It is what it is, he says. I'm like, oh my God, I'm so grateful that I backed it up.
Well, I said that because I knew her stuff was backed up. I wouldn't have been that sensitive if I knew.
Yeah, for sure. He knew I was backed up. So that's the thing is we have that excitement around, oh, well, it's all backed up, it's all in our GotBackup cloud. So we never have to worry again. So that is such a big pivot. You know, it's such an emotional thing when something happens where you're in a loss. People can relate to that big time.
You know,
Okay.
the new tools that are going to be, Joel was giving us a little bit of an overview. He wanted some feedback from some of us to what's going to be presenting on the 27th. And folks, there's going to be some amazing tools that are going to be available that you'll have the option to acquire, where you can have people sharing their stories. You can have your team recording their stories. It's really awesome what's coming. Folks, I'm telling you, the future is so, so bright. So right now we focused a bit on the product story, right? Now we want to focus on the business story, because let's face it, folks, we're living in a time today where the economy state of many people around the world is difficult. And when there are challenges like these, folks, you can always turn a negative to a positive. And what I mean by that is, yes, there are financial challenges due to these external factors that you have no control over, because sometimes I feel like we're pawns, based on our current leaders' decisions. In some cases, it could be awesome. In some cases, it could be not so awesome. Regardless of that, at the end of the day, you are in a situation of difficulty financially. So now we can turn this around. I just shared with you that when we started GotBackup, in fact, when we started GotBackup, the problem financially didn't occur. It occurred about 6-7 months down the road after we made the decision. But the fact here is I knew that digital was the future. And I knew it was a backbone, reliable way to earn an income. But of course, because it's $10 a month, it's not like you're paying $1,000 to get started. So obviously, it's going to take a little bit more time to create that foundation. But the upside is, because it's so inexpensive, you can have a much wider net of, and as an expression, to get people to look at what we have to offer, because it's not $1,000, it's $100, right? So per year, of course. So you see the difference here is quite significant. So don't underestimate the value of business, because I know a lot of people have a bit of a negative blueprint when it comes to making money. And of course, that negative blueprint of making money has a direct correlation to your results financially. If you have a challenge with making money or talking about money, you have to revisit that. Okay. And your story is very important, because I can assure you right now, in this time and age, that your business story can relate to a lot of people, specifically if there's a before, which is how things were right now. Maybe for you, that's how things are now. And what's the pivot? In other words, what decisions you've made in line of that. And it could be, how do you see your future now based on the pivot on what it is that's the pitch that you want to share with your general public. But again, you want to keep that within a 2.5 minute. This is something, folks, that especially people that are new in our business, they have a hard time, excuse me the expression, shutting up. They just keep talking and talking and talking and talking, and they're talking their way out of business because it's just too much, right? You want to find the say less and mean more. Okay. Who's the movie producer there that did E.T.? What's his name, Tammy? Oh, come on, everybody knew. Someone puts it in the message here. Steven Spielberg, right? You want to say less and mean more. Mm-hmm. So important. And this is what we're talking about. So you want to find the meats and potatoes, the element that are juicy, that are sensitive, that are get people to pay attention to what you have to say. In fact, in social media, if you don't master that, people are going to flip you and they'll never see you, because they just don't, you need that punch, that thing that's going to get people to say, stop. Oh, okay. Let me see what's going on here. Right. So 60 seconds, 30 seconds, 60 seconds. Anything else you want to add to that, Tammy, as I change?
Yeah, and really work on that. And the one thing, as you're sharing your story with people, read their body language. Okay, you know when you're capturing somebody, and you know when they're like, are they done yet? You know by reading people's body language. So pay attention, because if you don't have them, you're going to lose them if you keep going. Sometimes you need to engage somebody while you're telling your story, because everybody's different. When you start engaging them and let them start telling you their story, because they're the most important person in the conversation, is the person that you're talking to, because you want to bring value to them and you want to help solve a problem that they have, right? So it's not just about you and your storytelling. So you do have to be careful when you are telling stories as well. Okay. And you know what, you guys, this is all practice. Chris and I practiced for many, many, many years. So when people say to us, oh, it's easy for you. Yeah, you're absolutely right. It's easy for us. Why? Because we tell stories every single day. We don't miss. So when you're doing this naturally, people read you really well. Whether you're trying to sell them or whether you're trying to connect with them and see if there's a pain point that you could share and help them overcome it by giving them a solution. It's that simple, right? So here's you want to do this one, Chris?
No, you go ahead. I was waiting for you to start that one.
Okay, so you want to identify the pain before. So reflect on your life before discovering GotBackup, where you're at, and the challenges that you've had. You want to reflect on that and jot things down. Take the time, jot things down. What challenges, struggles, or unfulfilled needs were you experiencing in the past? Like Chris and I were literally stuck, and we knew that a digital product is the way to go in the future with what's happening in the growth of the economy. So everything lined up for Joel to make that phone call to Chris and I. I get goosebumps just thinking about it. So consider both your personal and your professional pain points that motivated you to seek a change. So obviously, Chris and I needed something to change for us to want to move forward with what we saw. And Joel, he shared his story with us too. He shared his story about losing all he lost his laptop and his external drive on a cruise. That's devastating for me, to lose all of that. I really felt for Joel, because we know his kids, growing up. So that hit me emotionally. It's going to hit women. That's a lot emotionally. Obviously men too, but that's a big, big core. So people get emotional. All right. So you want to calculate the cost. You want to go ahead on that part, Chris? Or you want me to continue?
Yeah, you go ahead and continue.
Okay. So calculate the cost. So analyze the tangible and intangible costs associated with your previous situation. How did it affect you, your finances, the time, having to search to see if you had something, somewhere else, or the time, that you've taken to search, right? Relationships. How has it affected your relationships? When Chris and I were going through the financial struggle, it creates silence sometimes, but Chris and I, we have a really good connection and really good relationship. Sometimes this issue, when people are struggling financially and they just don't know what's out there that could make the change for them, it can affect a relationship. Maybe it's happened to you. I don't know, but you got to know all this stuff and jot it down to put your story together and your overall well-being. You know what? When you're struggling financially, it makes you sick to your stomach. We know, because we had to figure things out. Of course, Chris and I are very creative in the way we do things, and we've always done very well because we didn't eat all our seeds, if you know what I mean, money-wise. We were smart, but we had to be creative. But when you're broke, it affects you emotionally, the stress that it causes, the emotions, the relationship, all of that. You know, people can relate. They can. And be honest about the sacrifices, the compromises that you made during that period, right? People need to hear your story.
You know,
And
something I'd like to add to all of this, Tammy, before we finish this, they are, you know, we're living in a very interesting time right now when it comes to AI technology. And I know that we do need to implement certain disciplines to make sure that we're careful with everything that's sometime or we're evolving faster than we can control the use of them. But my point here is there are devices that you can purchase that you can wear on your wrist or you can wear around your neck, and it will record every single things you say. No, again, be careful,
great.
right? But my point here is everything you say, and then it will compile every single thing you talked about, and the AI will create categories, and you can create anything from that. In fact, I work with a professional equity trader, right? That does a lot of stocks and things. I've been following him since 2016. And the guy is just a brilliant, brilliant mind. And everything that he does, whenever he does a call, a presentation, a training, whatever, everything is recorded. Every single, the way he lives his life, everything. And everything is categorized. And from there, he's creating a system that is duplicating himself. Now, I know I'm going a little far fetched here. My point with all this, with today's technology, is you could record yourself saying all sort of things, and the AI can compile segments of everything you talked about, categorize them, and it's crazy what you can pull out of that. Again, it's just an idea, folks. Some of you may say, I don't know what to think about. And you may be saying it every day. You're just not conscious of the significance of what you might be saying until you actually hear it in an organized fashion. Do you see what I'm getting with this? This could be a breakthrough for you. And I don't want to mention anything because I don't want to encourage you to buy anything on Amazon. And that's not the purpose here. I just want you to be aware that there's a lot of devices that are available that are not all that expensive. They record everything you say, and you can upload it to your app. In some cases, it could be an app on your phone, whatever that is, and it records everything all day long, and then it will summarize. You know, some of you might be using Zoom, and you do a presentation. And you know now Zoom, if you activated the AI transcribe, it will categorize in different categories everything you talked about, everything you trained, everything you did. Well, this is what I'm talking about. And it's very powerful. Again, these are things that didn't exist in the 80s, which I wish I had. And I intend to get one of those things because we do a lot of trainings, a lot of mentoring, and there's so much that I say, oh God, if I can just remember what I just talked about and create a database with all of this, my God, where could I be today? Do you see what I'm saying? Today, it's a non-issue because I can, but that could be used to create a story. You can have the AI say, hey, listen, can you extract all the important moments? Again, use the word, I'm just thinking out loud here, that I could create a story to pique interest on someone that might be interested, or someone to build the interest on someone to do business with me and GotBackup. The AI knows because it does research online and everything else. It has all your script and everything you talked about, maybe a presentation you did, maybe a training you did, maybe something you did for helping someone else and getting started. And all of that stuff could be compiled and extracted, and the AI will create a summary for 2.5 minutes for you in reference to what we're telling you, where you can use these guidelines, 60 seconds to where it used to be the pain, and 30 seconds, where's the pivot, and then another 60-second, what happened now? And the AI will compile all of that, will do it for you. This is the world that we live in today. You don't need to try to figure all this out. You can use this technology to complement you, which that was not available when we did this training the first time about a year or two ago, right? So sorry, Tammy, I added this segment because I thought it's something that people can certainly take advantage of. Back
Oh,
to you.
sure, for sure. So going on to the next slide is define that pivot moment for you. and describe the turning point or realization that led you to go check out GotBackup, to join GotBackup, and what triggered that interest in the opportunity, and the specific event or what it was that caught you to say, oh my gosh, I need to be part of this. Obviously for Chris and I, Joel was an anchor because we know Joel. We know him very well. We watched him succeed in the online world. Chris was purchasing his online products so that we can build our business. So we've done business with Joel. The trust factor was already there. And, the decision factor of joining was we needed to make money, and we needed to make money now. So that was a big thing for us. And then when it came to the product, when he talked about 6 terabytes, we're like, oh my gosh, both of us were paying for Dropbox. Both of us had Google Drive. We had all kinds of stuff. So we got stuff here. We got stuff there. We got stuff on our external drives. We got a bunch of stuff in our devices. And we're like, oh my gosh, this is, hello. We had to be part of this. 6 terabytes? I mean, no company does that, right? For that price. It was like, we had to be part of it. All I saw was how many families we can impact that need value right now. And everybody uses data storage. So that's the pivot. It was like, oh gosh, we got to be part of this. And then of course you want to share your story on the reap. How did you reap? What was the benefits you got from it financially? If you put efforts in this, you're making money with GotBackup. People need to hear this. I mean, if you don't put any efforts into it, you're not going to reap. Okay, it's that simple. Business is business. If you're out there talking to people, you're going to make money. If you get really good at your story, people are going to buy into it. Mm-hmm. Okay, so you got to work on that. Everybody who's watching today's session is at a different level. Step up your level. Step up your level by doing the exercise here. You do that, everything's going to change for you. You guys are going to tell us that your story from today's training made such an impact on you. You did the exercise, you improved your story, you started to make money, you started using the service, and was like a wow factor. For me, it was like, oh, everything is organized now. Everything's on my hand device now. Doesn't matter where I am. If I forget something, doesn't matter. I have it. I'll never lose my stuff. So you can hear the passion that we have around this, right? So work on that for you, because when we talk to people, they buy into it. Why? Because we're passionate about what we have in our hands.
That's another statement. So see, here's again some of the picture images to kind of help you come up with ideas. And remember, folks, what we're writing here may have nothing to do with the way you want to go about it. What we're giving you is just the context, right? The financial pain before. Now, in my case, it's not that we were in debt, is we required some assets that requires a certain minimum monthly to be able to maintain the ownership of those assets. And that was the pain where, my God, if this stops, I'm going to have to start letting go of these assets. And we're losing what we worked, 15 years in building. And you see, that was the pain before. And I was losing sleep over this, folks. I was going to bed stressed, and it was not fun. And then from there, what it cost me, right, is exactly that. The lack of sleep. I wouldn't say conflict with others, because I've always been very disciplined about these kind of things. Never broadcast your problem, other than if it's a story for someone to relate. That's a different context. But what it cost you before, and then what's the pivot? Well, here's the thing, folks. I found a cloud storage, and then I use an example that everybody can relate. Did you know that Dropbox has 700 million users? Do you see the potential? what we're offering here, it's not just an opportunity to back up your stuff, but you can tap into all of this. Think of you having a little tweezer of a billion, excuse me, 700 million users, right? It's so close to a
Massive.
billion, right? So, but the fact here is, think of the potential of that. And people are, they can imagine, and that's what we saw. This is the potential. And GotBackup is constantly improving and evolving. On the 27, folks, again, that's beside the point, but just a little hook on this FYI, there's going to be some updates that are going to give you an opportunity to increase your income. So the fact is that could be part of their story somehow. But again, the 27 will occur. Once the 27 is done, then the story has to again be tailored to the current situation. But the fact here is, the pivot is, we're associated with a project that everybody needs, that everybody can afford, and the potential is massive. And because the price point is so inexpensive, then it's as I mentioned earlier on the call, it's a much broader net that you can throw in the world, because there's no limit, there's no boundaries. You can literally have anybody using the GotBackup service around the world. And from that point on, number 4 is, okay, how are things now? Well, today, Tammy and I are able to not only sustain all our assets, but we're able to invest into our passive income and through some dividend stocks that are increasing our passive revenues. You understand what I'm saying? So we can show you, it's not attractive, right? To do some investments that are giving you money every single month. Your money's working for you. Isn't that awesome? And a lot of people have no idea that that's even possible. But by God, yes, it does. How do you think all these actors and actresses and these very wealthy people, where do you think they place their money? They don't just buy and sell stocks. They acquire equities that are going to give you dividend passive income. If you have something like $2.5 million invested, I'm not saying you have that. I'm just saying in an example, into certain dividends. If you're smart about which one you're using, that could generate a $40,000 a month income stream. Do you understand? You don't spend the $2.5 million in buying a fancy house, right? But again, I'm just giving you something beside the point, but it's part of the now, where we have the means to be able to invest. I'm not saying I have 2.5 million invested for folks. I'm just using an example. The fact here is you can take the money you earn and dip it $100 a month, $200 a month, $300 a month, and put it into these dividend stocks to increase, and everything compounds over 10 years, 15 years. Some of you are quite young and some of you are maybe more mature, right? Like in our age group. And so you may have to be wiser in certain things that you do. But the point here is, these are all part of the story that can capture people's attention. Let me look at what you have. Send me your link. Boom. You just turn around and take some of the funnels that are available in GotBackup. So I know, Tammy, time is going very quickly here. So at the end of the day, what is your elevator pitch? So what do we say? 2.5 minutes? Because in 2.5 minutes, and even that could be long depending on the context of, if it's a 15-second ride up, you don't have 2.5 minutes, but you might be walking in and walking out. 2.5 minutes could be more than enough. So that's the norm. What's your elevator pitch? In other words, what is that 15-second segment of your story that you can share with someone that will, that will pique their curiosity? Back to you, Tammy.
Yeah. And you know what I recommend to do is, once you put your story together, go to ChatGPT, plug it in, ask him to refine it, practice, because you want to make an impact. And what questions could you ask when you have 30 seconds? Do that as a homework and watch ChatGPT just blurt out a bunch of things based on where you're at and in connecting with people. That it's hard to do this, just so you know, just to randomly do something in 30 seconds, because your mind tends to want to take you out of the game to find out, where people are at, and especially when it comes to strangers. So I tend to smile at people And then I tend to compliment them, based on the way they're dressed or whatever. Guys, you have to be careful sometimes with women, right? Because women, sometimes we're like, okay, why is he saying that to me? But it's important that you make that connection, and then you can ask them a simple question
Well,
after that.
Tammy, sorry for cutting in, but I want to use an example that happened recently. Sometime I'm walking, my wife and I are walking,
Yeah.
and you have this lady that's going to turn around, and she had her hair all fixed up, and that little kind of golden hair, flying around
Mhm.
as she walks. And this lady was saying, "You have such beautiful hair." Here's an example that is, again, not intrusive and makes people feel good. And I see my wife with her smile, for a grin left to right. She's proud. Of course she is. I'm proud. I'm the guy that's walking beside her. Right. So these are all things that will get people to smile back at you. This is the point. I just wanted to give you a real example. Back to you.
Yeah, when you make people feel good, they tend to want to listen, right? So always focus on others and not so much about what you're going to say. Focus on them. If they're smiling back and you say something, that be genuine, you guys. Please be genuine when you make a compliment to people. Find something about them that you like, and make a compliment, a kind compliment, to make them smile back and feel appreciated. And yeah, I mean, if they're on their phone and you're on your phone, these are easy conversations that you can that
Yeah,
you that
you
you
need
have.
to create a context, right? So you're not
Yes.
going to say, "Well, hey, how do you manage your cloud storage?" when you're
Yeah.
talking to a perfect stranger. So what the
Yeah.
heck, So what you have to do is, again, if using your cell phone, it could be a simple question: is how you dealing with the storage? Is your phone full? I mean, it's such a common issue that people may turn around, and if someone's not responding back to you, that's fine. Just turn around, says, move on. It's okay. But that's the cost of doing business. Sometimes you have to get out of that little comfort zone, and that's an example here,
Yeah,
right?
and I like that. How are you coping with inflation of today? I mean, everybody has something to say about that. That's a good question to open conversation. So the goal is to open conversation,
That's it.
and from there, yeah. And
And
a lot of people today, especially here, I'm not sure about everywhere around the world, but a lot of people here that got comfortable working from home with their jobs are now being forced to go back to work. And some of them just don't want to do it. So, yeah, this could be a conversation in itself
so
where you
again, exactly. So we talked about the hair, which is in this case the shoe, the look, and everything else. And then you ask the question. And then number four, this is the point where you need to make the sell, folks, right? You don't want to just chit chat and walk away. You want to try to get to a certain goal. Is, listen, if I give you a link, would you have a chance to smile? Excuse me. Would you have a chance to look at it, by tonight? Depending on how the conversation went. If
can.
I send you a link, would you be open to check it out? If I send you a Zoom link or a YouTube presentation that's taking place every Wednesdays or Fridays or Saturdays or Sundays, whatever, would you have a chance to? Would you be able to attend? So in some cases, it could just be, these presentations have been recorded for like 2.5 years, so you can turn around and just send them a link that you have saved, one of your favorite ones. You know what I mean? So again, these number four is very important. Don't overlook number four because you're shy to ask, because that's what you need to work towards, because that's what's going to generate the conversion towards what you're looking for.
Yeah, and I like to go back to if I would you, because what you're
It's
stating is,
11:03, Tammy, just to
yeah.
remind you. Okay.
So what you're stating is I may or may not send something to you because you're asking them for a commitment. Would you look at the link? If I decided to send you a link, would you take the time to look at it? That's really what you're saying to them. So you're getting a commitment back from that person. So that's when you would send it to them. Often when you're very compelling and you're passionate about why you're so excited about GotBackup, people will ask you for your link Or how do I get some information? How many times has that happened to you where you didn't even have to say, if I, would you? Because they're already curious, right? To get some information. So the key is the invitation, right? So we're kind of, helping you build a story around creating enough curiosity for them to want to move forward. Once they move forward, you got to give them something. Because if you don't give them anything, that conversation happened for nothing, right? So you got to move them forward to the next step. And from that link, they may have check out the link, but still haven't responded. And there just happens to be a live presentation coming or a local presentation happening, then that would be another step. And often there's several steps. And I think people, they give up way too early in the prospecting process because it is a process, right? So you gotta move people along. You gotta have many people in your pipeline because you're moving people to different stages until they make that final decision to join your business.
So as Tammy was sharing here, folks, you saw the assignment. Take action on these things, folks, because it could really impact your life. Create your own product story video, your own business story video, written with ChatGPT, folks. It's no excuses. You can use even the free version. It's more than enough to give you what you need. Work on some elevator pitch. Maybe use ChatGPT to help you summarize your message to, I don't know, a 15-second elevator pitch, and then learn it, practice it. Right? Create your own business story. Again, that's just the product business. And invite people to join. Now we say Zoom presentations. At the time, it's kind of what we did, but now it's all kind of YouTube presentations and so forth. And
Could
the
be
fact is in
one-on-ones,
YouTube,
it could be live
yeah,
presentations.
and they're all recorded, especially for the Wednesdays. Set up goals on a weekly, to weekly sign up people into your business. Set some goals. Very important, folks. You've heard this before over and over and over. The people who set goals tend to achieve them a lot more than the ones that just wing it, right? So today's training, folks, it's just some guidelines, but the bottom line is you need to create your story, product, and business. I hope that many of you will take part of that, because this is what's going to anchor your business. When Tammy and I built our GotBackup business, right from the beginning, we had our story. And the reason why we had our story is because we needed that story. I told you at the beginning, financially, a lot of people knew, because they were within our circle of influence, that we were earning a certain income that suddenly was gone, and we needed to move really damn quick and to make a decision. And we used, again, the fact that digital services is the future, that you want it or not, it is the future. And then we use examples. I use Dropbox all the time because of the reality where it took them 7 years to get into momentum. We've been in business. We GotBackup seriously for 2.5 years, and things are evolving. On a 27, it's going to be another benchmark. Tammy and I were sick last week, so I'm digging into it because we're talking a lot. But at the end of the day here, folks, take action on these things. It will have an impact on you. I'll let you finish, Tammy.
Yeah, just put your stories together and practice, practice, practice. And the more you practice, the more comfortable. Like I said, it's all about building your mindset and your posture and your passion around why you're part of this. And if you don't have this service set up, and you haven't done a backup, I'm telling you, you won't be as passionate. We're passionate because we're so excited that everything is in the palm of our hands now. And whatever happens to anything, from our external drives to anything, it's okay because we already have it backed up. We have no worries, right? So it's perfect. It's perfect. And we're very structured and organized with our folders with GotBackup. I no longer pay for Dropbox. I no longer pay for excess of other things because everything's in our GotBackup. We got lots of storage.
And folks, just consider again, these little devices that record yourselves that you can that automatically upload to an AI, I really, really recommend it here, folks. I think this is going to be a major, major tool where people eventually will be able to clone themselves because their whole life will be recorded. Again, just be careful with that because obviously everything you do or say is recorded. I just want you to be aware that it's a phenomenal, phenomenal tool. Okay. Have
So if
yourself
you
a
enjoyed
wonderful.
today's session, make sure you
Smash
smash
that
the
like
like
button. Let
button.
us know.
Absolutely smash.
Share the love. Really
Leave a
appreciate you.
comment.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And send this recording to every single person on your team. If you do that, watch the excitement happen within
And
your
your business
organization
grow.
and people are more engaged.
So have a great weekend, everybody. We will see you on Wednesday evening. And again, folks, don't come alone. If you come alone, you learn. If you come with your team, you earn while you learn. Have a great one. Bye for now.
Have a great weekend.